when I came across this test answer, I laughed out loud. It is possibly one of my favorite answers because there's a sincerity to it that is priceless. They were supposed to say what a number to the zero power is. The answer is 1, for those of you who don't use exponents all the time, which is most of us. But they were supposed to explain why. And this student's answer, if you can't read the cursive, is fairy voodoo magic. Now, I know some of you out there feel like all math answers are fairy voodoo magic, or at least algebraic, right? Algebraic math. Like we wave a wand and there it is. Or do fairies wave wands? And I didn't know fairies did voodoo, so that was new information to me. Anyway, I just love this answer. So, fairy voodoo magic. If you don't know the answer to why, the answer is fairy voodoo magic. Now, on to my shout outs for some Canadian creators. Eh? Hi there. Today is brought to you by the Canadians. Well, it's brought to you by me, but in honor of the Canadian channels that I watch. I'm going to kind of go in order of when I met them or connected with them, but also I will include some larger channels that I've actually been watching for longer. I just don't necessarily have as much of a personal connection. So I'm going to start with Zach. Zach's Crafts and something. Anyway, Zach, mostly diamond paints, but he has crocheted in the past. And I will link a live where he's very recently trying to learn to crochet again with, oh my gosh, her name just like left my head. Where is it? I have it written on here. Hook That Yarn Crystal. And Ian is Weirdo were working with him. Or was it Adrienne from Kiwi's Crochet Corner? Anyway, all of those people that I just mentioned, I'm going to group together in a shout out as well. But I will list them. I will tag them here because they've been integral to Zach trying to crochet again. But Zach does really cool diamond painting. And he had me and Margaret Songbirds Creations on on a panel on a Monday. And I've been on his channel a couple other times. Well, at least one other time. I think 2 other times. Because he'll just invite me up. It's just a lot of times Monday nights just don't work for me because I babysit Tuesdays and I've got chaos going on. Anyway, so sorry. I have a raspberry seed in my tooth. It's driving me crazy. Let me drink some tea. Hydrate, please. There we go. I got it out. All right. And that was nice because my throat's kind of a little. Anyway, our weather is Camille's ideal today. Going to have a high of 75. It's lovely. It's calm. Very light breeze. Yes, Colorado has some literally perfect weather days. Not to say they're all that way. Anyway, so Zach, go check him out. He mostly does lives. Maybe only does lives. And I love when his mom comes in. You don't see her, but you hear her. I just love her voice. His mom thinks it's really funny that I love her voice. She thinks I'm crazy. But I do. There's just something that the tone, I don't know. I just really like his mom's voice. So anyway, that's my silliness with Zach. But yeah, I've been on a panel. I've been on his channel with him a couple times. And one time, the first time I was on with him, I was on with Margaret and, oh my gosh, there were 2 others. I think that's Ian is the Weirdo came up. I think Ian came up that time too, partway through. But I feel like I know there was somebody else too. Bonnie, maybe? Anyway, but we'll focus on the Canadians. Zach is in Canada. And I believe these folks are all in different parts of Canada as well. Zach is not very specific about where he's from in Canada. I just know he's East Coast time, and we'll leave it at that for him. But his channel will be linked, both the tag and the website, because I've found that sometimes if it's just a tag, people can't click the tags. And I'm not sure why that is sometimes. But anyway, Zach will be linked. And then now I got him in my front teeth. I'm just being all kind of questionable. Sorry about that. I gotta get on the right line. There we go. Moonrose is next. Moonrose, she does yarn content. She does, let me look and see. I know she's done some lives. I wouldn't say that's her common. I need to pull her channel up here. Nope. To go a different way. Unfortunately, a name like Moonrose does not necessarily come right up when you try to find it. So I have to look at my subscriptions. Come on, where are you? There you are. Moonrose Crafts. Moonrose Crafts with an S. Let's see. She does shorts. She does not do videos. She hasn't done shorts in a bit. She does lives. She's in lives a lot. She hasn't done a live in a couple months. So I don't know how much content she's putting out right now, but she's a huge supporter and she comes in and supports a lot of people during their lives. So I don't know if maybe more people would subscribe. Maybe she'd be encouraged to do more videos or lives. But also, she does do custom orders for beads. Beading, Beading, making signs. And she makes signs, paints. She dehydrates fruit. And like I said, she can crochet as well. So I will make sure she is linked for you all to check her out. She's a huge supporter. So of lots of crochet content, lots of channels. Next up is a fairly recent person that I met since January or February, maybe even March of this year, 2025. If you're watching this later, I need more tea. I can tell my throat's getting all funky again. Again, I like big mugs and I cannot lie. I believe this is 32 ounces. This is Candy, Kandy tea. It's lovely. Anyway, okay. So I met Esther, Middle Earthian. Well, let me look up the exact title of her channel. She is thinking about changing it because it used to be that she was doing mostly Middle Earth, Lord of the Rings content. But she switched to crochet content. It's Middle Earthian Crochet. Her name is Esther. Again, she lives in Canada. She says which part, but I don't recall right off the top of my head. I believe she is East Coast time as well, but I do not believe she's in the same city as. Actually, I'm positive she's not in the same city. She might not even be in the same province as Zach. So she does videos, she does shorts, she does lives, she creates projects. She's got a whole Granny Squares series. She's got a crochet along. She's going to do a whole Christmas series. She's going to do a whole Christmas series with all kinds of Christmas items. She's created her own Granny Squares, like of her own design. She made one that's a Star Wars. I'm going to call it a square. It's not a square. And but then she turned it into a pillow. So she's got all kinds of things. She's got Disney, yeah. And then she does something called Stitch Antics, which is where subscribers pick the colors. And then she comes up with a project using that color. I met her on Wow Crochet Designs. Mary, her website. Mary's in Australia. And so she was tagged a couple weeks ago whenever I did the Australian folks. But Middle is what she's called on Wow Mary's, because it's easier for Mary to connect you with your channel name. So, but Esther is her name, and she's a lot of fun to watch. She's creative. Her lives are very quick moving. She's not nearly as all over the place as I tend to be. She's a lot more organized, straightforward, but she does want you to interact with her and asks for that. But yeah, if you're not looking for like a 3-hour live, like I have a tendency to do, she's your lady. She shows stuff, and like I said, she's got all kinds of things she's actually made. She has tutorials. She yeah, she's a lot of fun. So check her out. Let me come back over here. And so those are my 3 that I'm more connected with. Like I feel like I know them even though I don't know them in person. Oh, sorry, my stomach's been bothering me, so just ignore it. I will just ignore it. All right, so here's some other ones. Is that the whole name? I need to check something real quick because I want to make sure I get it right. Because that seems like it's too short. Okay, it's Crochet A, EH, Canada. And she has been going through a tough time, so I want you to check her out and support her. Let's see, when was her last live? I know she just had surgery, so her last live was a month ago, and part of that is because she's been sick, but she drops videos, let's see, every few days. It looks like a minimum of once a week, but it looks like more often than that. So she's very sweet. She comes up with really cool ideas and shows her work. She did a Vlogmas. Yeah, so she's just her channel in terms of like what she shows, it looks like she actually writes patterns, which I do not do, but a lot of the rest of her vibes are similar to mine. Yeah, it says crochet giveaways, tutorials, patterns, and yarn related content. Yeah. And she gives her story as to why she started her channel in her description. So you might want to check that out. So Crochet A Canada. Again, I will link it below. So it will be just not just a tag, but also her actual link so that it's easier to find her. The next one I'm going to mention is Canadian Crocheter, I believe is how she actually pronounces it. Canadian Crocheter, Canadian Crocheter. I'm pretty sure that's how she pronounces it. So she's been around a long time. She has a variety of stuff as well. I believe she has tutorials. I'm just checking. Oops. Gotta go to YouTube first because I want all these links up so it's easy for me to. And I believe she's done some collaborations with some different people. I'm just trying to remember who she did. Yeah. She's a little bit larger channel than most of the channels. I mean, obviously, Crochet Rocks Tracy's bigger than most of the channels that I've shouted out. Wow, Crochet Designs is bigger than most of the channels I've shouted out. But she talks about real life. She talks about stuff she does. It looks like video-wise, it's every couple weeks. Let me look at her playlist. She does have a playlist of tutorials, and it doesn't look like she goes live. So you just kind of get notifications and watch her. She does yarn content. She shows her makes, and she makes really cool stuff. I feel like she knits too, but that would be surprising given it says Canadian Crocheter, right? Oh, she has. Okay, I'm just scanning through here. She's got a really cute hat with stormtroopers on it. Looks like she did a whole Star Wars thing. Anyway, so Canadian Crocheter, and I'm being very conscientious of how I pronounce that. And the last one I'm going to mention is an even bigger channel, but there's a very specific reason I'm mentioning this channel. MJ's Off the Hook is from Canada. And I'll mention real quick, Crochet Crowd Mikey is from Canada as well. But again, I'm not even going to, I'll tag, I'll put a link to him. But again, he's huge, like Crystal, maybe not quite as big as, well, anyway, he might be bigger than Crystal. I don't even know. But MJ's off the hook. Why? I'm going to mention her. First of all, I really like her patterns. Secondly, Crafting Kitty at Crafting Kitty 101. MJ's off the hook is her creator spotlight creator for September. So that's coming up. So if you're interested in making something off MJ's off the hook, or you have made something from MJ's, you can submit a picture of that to Erin's. I do recommend her Facebook group. You can email it, but I recommend putting it on when she puts the post up in her Facebook group about Creator Spotlight. It seems easier for her if it's in there. You can do up to 3 items and get 3 entries there. So MJ's off the hook. It's also Canadian. So Zach, Middle Earthian Crochet, Moonrose, Canadian Crocheter, Crochet A, and her name is Stacy. I wrote it. Nope, that's Create. Sorry. My writing's getting all scrunched together, and MJ's off the hook. So I genuinely recommend all of these channels. The first 3 are significantly smaller than the others. Well, Middle Earthian Esther has a lot of subscribers, but she's not getting, because she switched what content is on her channel, she's not necessarily getting as many views. So I'd love to send some crocheters over there. Anyway, thanks for coming in. And can I get an A? CANADA. Just, I'm being silly. Thanks for coming in. Can I get an amen?